I'm going to talk about the success stories, about the innovation challenges, role of educators, especially in promoting global and cross-cultural understanding. Because nowadays we live in a global village. Basically, it's very easy to travel between countries. You can eat a breakfast in here in Arezzo and maybe lunch or dinner in New York very fast. You basically, and with what's going on right now around the world, you meet people from so many cultures and so many languages. So this is critical in any curriculum at the school level, K-12, or even at the university, to have or to promote or to educate or to make people aware of the cross-cultural understanding and aware of other cultures in the world. Now, I'll be also talking about my experience meeting people from different parts of the world. I spent more than 13 years in the States as a student and a professor. Again, also I spent more than 30 years in Canada, Toronto, as a professor and as an educator. And as you might know, Canada is a very multicultural society. You can meet people from all over the world. I never imagined that that one day I meet such people. I meet people from every single country, and I traveled heavily. I went to Spain, I went to Finland, Denmark, Netherlands, England, but basically every year I go and visit a country. And this year, the first time, come to Italy. Never been here before, and then it was a very challenging trip, and I'll tell you my story later. When I was coming through the train station and the airport, and nobody speaks English, and I talked to people, and two people tried to mug me. They were say, "Oh, it's a good friend." I mean, it's basically good experience, and I always say, life is an adventure. If you don't travel, if you don't go and meet people, you will never grow. And as you know, comfort and growth don't exist together. You have to make yourself uncomfortable to grow and learn from other people. Anyhow, let's move to the main topic of the session. As you will see, as in all other countries, we have assistive schools from K-12. These schools divided into three types. We have schools that run by the Ministry of Education, 76%. We have schools run by UNRWA. If you don't know what's UNRWA, UNRWA is the United Nations Refugee Agency. You have some Palestinians who were refugees, who lived their homes in 1948, and some of them were misplaced internally in Palestine in certain areas, and these students are entitled to go to these schools, 12.3%, and we have private schools, 11.7%. So these are the type of kids from grade 1 until 12 schools that we have in Palestine. What happened here? Okay, now, kindergarten. Just until recently, because a lot of research proved we have to start the early education, educating kids at an early age, from 4 to 6, to give them a solid, strong background. So in Palestine, we started the kindergarten basically from 4 to 6 years old to start attending a school and preparing them for grade 1. And also why did we do that? Because really, education in Palestine has high priority. And as you will see later, the literacy rate is so high. Basically, education in Palestine is a cultural thing where parents work so hard to give the kids a chance to go to university. They will sacrifice, they will save their money in order to enable their children to finish high school and go to university. So education is a priority. It's the way out of so many things. And most people have degrees and they are educated in Palestine. Even sometimes if they don't find jobs after graduation, they prefer to go to university, get their BA degree, and sometimes their master's degree, because education is one of the most important things that people need in their lives. Let's see how we divide the K-12 schools. We have basically 3 levels. Grade 1 to 4, we call it the basic level, preparation. Kids go from grade 1 to 4. And then we have the upper basic level where kids go to school from grades 5 to 10. And after that, we have the secondary stage, which is grade 11 and 12. At the secondary stage, grade 11 and 12, basically you could choose, go to the scientific stream or literary stream, which means some students choose to go and study math, physics, biology, chemistry. Those will go to scientific stream, and when they finish high school, they will go study medicine or basically the science disciplines. Other students will choose to go to the literary stream, which means they want to study English, or they want to study arts, or Arabic, or history, or geography, something else. So basically, it depends on their choice. Now, also your average in the high school determines where you're going to go. Most students who have high averages at high school choose to go to the scientific stream because every parent, every family would like their child to go to university, be a doctor or engineer or something. And really, it's like maybe in Italy here. And some students, they don't like the scientific stream, they like the literary stream. Basically, they want to be a lawyer, an attorney, or they're going to be study Arabic, be a linguist, or an artist, a writer, or whatever. Basically, it's their choice. Education. Some students might not be able, for whatever reason, to finish high school, or they don't want to go to university. They don't choose scientific stream, or they don't choose literary stream. And sometimes maybe their academic ability or academic achievement is not so high. So these students will go to some vocational schools to learn to be a carpenter, or to be an artist, or to be an electrician, to be something. But the people who go to vocational schools is not very high, because most people, males and females, prefer to go to university after they finish high school to get a university degree, a BA degree in the discipline that they would like to, and after that maybe pursue their graduate studies. Post-secondary education. After you finish high school, you will join one of the 15 Palestinian universities that we have. I come from Birzeit University, one of the best institutions in East Bank. And also we have other institutions like An-Najah University, Hebrew University. We have also universities in Gaza. So basically, in total, we have 15 universities. And these 15 universities, they cater to the Palestinian students who are either in West Bank or in Gaza. And we have also some international students who come to these universities to study different areas. Basically, we have a huge Arabic language program, learning Arabic as a foreign language, every year, where we have students come from Germany, maybe Italy, and China, Hong Kong, so many countries. We have like approximately 60 students every year who come and study at Birzeit or at An-Najah, other universities. And we have also an exchange program where students also come from to spend a semester at Birzeit to take some courses, or some students also come to go to other countries through the Erasmus Plus program. It's a very nice opportunity for all of them to do that. But basically, these 15 universities offer, most of them, like liberal arts colleges. They offer a BA degree, 4-year degree in all the disciplines, in physics, chemistry, biology, law, engineering, whatever you think about. We have, for instance, in West Bank, one of the 2 universities have a medical school in Abu Dis and also An-Najah. Birzeit, we don't have a medical school because there is no need to have more than 1 or 2 medical schools in West Bank. 1 is enough. 2, right now we have 2 is enough, even though they are competing and they would like to have that, but right now we have 2. Now, also some universities offer a PhD program. For instance, at Birzeit University, 3 years ago, we started a PhD program in social studies. And this is right now, the first group is trying to finish maybe in a year or 2. In spite of all of the difficulties and the challenges that the Palestinian people are going through, and as I said at the beginning, if you remember, education is a priority, and it's the only way out of so many things. So that's why people will face the challenges, and it doesn't matter if it's financial or political or social, to give their children the chance to go to university. In spite of all the problems, and by the way, people who live in Palestine, in Gaza and West Bank, the whole context, the whole situation because of the occupation is different from living in Italy, in a city, and in Rome. I mean, there are so many challenges, and in spite of all those challenges, high literacy rate, maybe 99.9% of the Palestinian people they can read and write, literally. It is a must. Yes, it is basically, we don't have people who are illiterate. People just basically, especially parents would like their children to go to university, to go to school and learn, especially the parents who didn't have a chance to go to university. And as you will see later, 58%, 60% of the students at the university are females, more females than even males. High school graduation rates also very high, more than 80%. Students who finish high school with good average, they go to universities, and some maybe 15% they go to vocational schools, and we don't have students who don't finish high school. It's a cultural thing. It's like in Italy too. It's a family that supports their children to go to schools. And by the way, we don't have loans to go to university. For instance, when I was going to university, I know that my parents were saving every single dollar for Hanwar to go to university, to pay the fees and also expenses. Even sometimes if you have to save the money at the expense of the family, they sacrifice. Basically, without this support, we can't finish. So basically, especially if you are a good student and you would like to study, your parents will support you in any way possible. Even if they have to borrow money to send you to university, they will do that. And that's why we have many students finish the Tawjihi, which is the grade 12, and then go to university. Access to higher education, I'll give you for instance, at Birzeit, an example. We have students who can't pay the fees, and then we, the faculty members, deduct from our salaries to donate money to the account that support those students who can't pay the fees of the university. And sometimes even other people will say, okay, and I will pay the fees this year for this student whose family is not able to go to university. So there is a lot of financial, social, and economic support for students who can afford, because we don't want financial issues to stop you from not going to university. I mean, you don't borrow, you don't take a loan from the bank. You don't, basically, we support you. And also, we have at the university an honor program. Students who have an honor, high averages at the university, they will be, what's the word I'm looking for? They will be relieved or exempted from paying the fees because you have high academic achievement, 85 average and above, and many students work hard and they get that average basically to continue their education, a scholarship from the university, and not pay any expenses. Equality between males and females, 57% of university students are females. Basically here, in my classes at the university right now, this semester and every semester, I look at my class, I have one class is 31 females, another class 33 females. In the master level, all of them female, one class, all of them are females, and one other class, one male. And believe me, students, especially at the master level, they're married, they have jobs, they have a lot of responsibilities, and in the afternoon, from 2 to 5 o'clock, they will come and take classes in order to finish their master's degree. And it's a pleasure to teach these students because they're there by choice. These moms and these teachers and these principals who after work, they will say, okay, twice a week, I'm going to go to university to finish my master's degree in any discipline from 2 to 5. So basically, this will tell us the importance of education and how people value that. Inclusive education, this is a new inclusive education concept. We borrowed this from the West and from you guys. Inclusive education, for instance, in maybe in Italy or in Canada or in States, means you include everybody, regardless of the color of the face, regardless poor or rich, regardless of your language, regardless of your original country when you immigrate, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of anything. So we borrowed this concept. Now I'm applying it into Palestine, that we have to include students who sometimes they come from poor families or rich families, students who come from the city or rural areas, students who sometimes academic level is not high or lower high. Basically, the classroom should include everybody, regardless of the differences, and they should have equal education. And in most cases in my classes, I'll tell my students, I train teachers and I train principals. I say in your class, you need to be able to include every single kids who are really poor, kids who come without a breakfast, kids who come really not without bathing even. These are the kids that you need to include in your class and take care of them before the other kids. I mean, basically you serve every single child. So we try to include this. And I work with the Save the Children organization on many projects in Palestine to train teachers and the principals at public schools and in private schools on inclusive education. So basically for the last 3 years, we try to raise awareness about what's inclusive education. And sometimes people say, especially children who have some learning difficulties or they have learning issues, and some teachers will say, we can't mainstream or accept these kids in the class. No, we need to do that. Also, it's good for the kids to be included in a normal classroom with other kids so they can develop. So this is really an emphasis. Also, IT. IT is also a priority. The Ministry of Education and many schools, they would like to train their teacher and students using IT education because it makes learning interesting, enjoyable, effective, and efficient. You saw at the Palestinian universities in the past, most students who go to science, sometimes males, but this has changed. Now you can find female students going to scientific disciplines and engineering and physics and math, you know what I mean? So basically it's still more males than females, but much better than before. Now you have many students who go and study math and physics and chemistry or engineering, I mean, for those male-dominating disciplines. I mean, so it depends on your interest. Now, if you go to education, you will find most of the students are females. This is also a cultural thing because many people say, okay, for females, it's much better for her to work as a teacher because 8 until 1, 2 o'clock, go home, take care of the family and issues. So basically, it's a convenient thing. But it's still, and they major in physics and math and chemistry and English, different disciplines. But still, we saw a change in this trend. So right now, they go into medical school. They go into being a dentist or being a general practitioner or study physics or math. This trend is changing. Now, it is, I always say, you choose your major, not your parents. Okay, I want to be a doctor. Okay, parents support you. In the past, sometimes parents say, oh, you have to study this and you have to study that. I play a major role in this. And when I meet my students, I will say, how many of you here by choice? How many of you here chose your major, not yours? You say, yes, because if you choose something you love to do, you do a great job and you have fun and you make money. You mean you don't have to force yourself to do something that you don't like to do. You want to enjoy that. I mean, enjoy something and make money. So basically, they have the choice, whatever they want to do. We, for instance, here in our departments, it's a small department. We have 12 faculty members, and you could find we have maybe 5 females and 7 males. And all of them, by the way, are doctors. Yani we have Dr. Khawla, Dr. Fathiya, Dr. Ola, Fatima, and all of them are educated in the States. They will get scholarships and they will go to the States and get their PhDs in math teaching or in curriculum instruction in English. I mean, so basically, yes, we do have, and the high academic achievers among females, they will pursue. I told you in my master classes, when I look at my master classes this semester, I have 2 masters. In both classes, I have females. I have only 1 male who's a principal of a school coming to do his master's degree. So education, especially among the female population, is more popular, or they would like to go and do that. It is basically they want to develop themselves. They want to take care of their families. Also, but males come to graduate school, but not like females. So basically, yes, we have a balance, and I think especially for females, sometimes when they go and pursue their degree, it's like for them, an enriching experience, a developing experience. I don't want to just stay home and take care of kids and make cookies and cook. I want to also go and read. And by the way, and I look at my wife. My wife is an engineer. She has a master industrial engineering. And I have two boys, 7 years old and 8 years old. The times that she spends with them at home, doing their homework and working, it's basically sometimes they get about 5 o'clock in the morning to do the homework, the assignment. See, they spend so much time with their kids. It's good to have an educated mom, you know what I mean, so they can, husband too, but basically to help the kids. So basically, yes, many females or more females pursuing higher education than males in West Bank, and many of them get scholarships and they go to other countries, to the States or even Italy or New Zealand. They go and pursue their PhD degree or master degree and come back and teach at the universities. We get a lot of information from the media, and most of the time the information is incorrect. The picture or the portrait that you guys have about the Arab women is totally untrue. That is not. Basically, they are so powerful, they are so in charge, they make a big difference, and sometimes in many households, they are the one who is running the house and taking care of that. But basically, nowadays, yesterday in my class, when I met the students, they asked me about arranged marriage, you know what I mean? Where maybe 50 years ago, the dad will come home. If Lucia is my daughter, and I say, okay, Lucia, get ready, I gave it to somebody and I get married without asking her, without telling her there. That is absolutely nonsense. Not anymore. Nowadays, it's exactly like in other countries. Even sometimes, basically, no parent can force his daughter to get married if she says no. No one can ask her what to do. Basically, they have the final decisions, especially as you see, most of them are educated. So educated, and they play a big major role in building the Palestinian society. The old stereotypes where women are oppressed, women are just obeying their husbands, women are just staying at home, that is totally untrue. Now, they even play a more important role than men in education, in medicine, in so many areas in Palestine. And I thank you for asking this question, and that's why we come here together and to talk about these stereotypes and the cultural between countries to become aware of it. Now, not everything you hear in the media is correct. When you have Hanwar coming here personally and talking to his Italian colleagues face to face, this is the right information that we get to tell people about it. The same thing, when you came here, and I think Lucia was in Palestine not long time ago. Sylvia was in Palestine and they came. Basically, when you experience things firsthand, that's the most important thing. I'll tell you something. When I was 19 years old, I got my scholarships to go and study in the States. The stereotype in the Arab world, in Palestine, all the Americans are atheists. They don't believe in God. They are material. But when I went there, listen, if you have $1 in your pocket, what's written on the dollar? In God we trust. When you walk around in any city, in every small space, there is a church. Basically, they are more religious than any other country. But basically, and also in many, so basically it is, not anyone can experience that firsthand. But you could experience that. That is the most important thing. Now, also, we are all of us educated. When you read from a source on the internet or the media, read from more than one source. And then you need to analyze the data or the information that you hear to come your own conclusion. Just only here. For instance, here, I spend 1.5 hours, 2 hours every day listening. CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera English, so many stations. I want to see how each one of them delivers the news. Sometimes covering the same topic. The language they use is different. The images that they use is different. Everything would like to portray something from their perspective. Now, we are educated people. We listen to what we hear. We think about it. We verify the information. And now, especially in the internet age, there's a lot of fake news, a lot of misinformation. I tell my students sometimes when they're going to do a research paper, sometimes we need the easy way across. Okay, you have a research paper, they go Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not verified sometimes, you know what I mean? Go and find information from more reliable sources so you can continue that, you know what I mean? So basically, the same thing. Italian, yesterday I talked about stereotypes. Right now here, I came to Italy the first time. It was for me, 8 to 1 o'clock, we work. 1 to 4, we sleep. 4 to 8, I went to the pharmacy to buy some medicine. And I told where I'm staying, I want to go and buy some medicine. She said, oh, it's 8:15. I said, what's what? She said, nobody's closed now. Nobody's open. I go on the street. Last time talking to my wife, I look at the window. Nobody in the street. It's 8 o'clock. And people have the image. Italians are lazy. They don't work hard. You know what I mean? It's just basically, it's their lifestyle. This is what they do. We respect that. Whereas in my country, people sometimes don't sleep. Shops open until midnight, 1 o'clock. It's basically, life starts after 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? It's basically, this is the things. I never knew that this is the lifestyle in Arezzo. I don't know if it's across Italy or just all here in Arezzo that you guys do that. But basically, you experienced the life firsthand, or you hear about it, and you verify it. Now when I go back, I'm going to talk to my colleagues about Italy. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to say, Italian people live this way. I said, wow, that's their lifestyle. I think they enjoy life. So you don't have to be workaholic to work all the time, but you have to have a balance, you know what I mean, between that. So basically, it's good to read more, meet people from different countries, travel if you can, and thanks for Erasmus who allow us to come and see face-to-face and exchange information to break, to clean these stereotypes against cultures, against people, in order to have this mutual understanding and respect. And she talks about the people who immigrate to other countries. And sometimes when Arabs immigrate to Italy or Canada or the States, there's two arguments here. Basically, we have the salad bowl metaphor and we have the melting pot metaphor. Some countries, like for instance, take Canada, they prefer the salad bowl metaphor, which means when people immigrate to that country, they encourage people to maintain their culture and their language, and because they consider diversity is a strength. Whereas the melting pot, assimilation, if you come to the States, you immigrate, then you have to assimilate. And I used yesterday the proverb, and I know you guys, if you heard about it, if you are in Rome, do what the Romans do. You see? But sometimes when you immigrate, there are certain cultural or moral issues or cultural things that in your culture you can't give up because they're part of you. And for instance, look at me. I'm an Arab who graduated, who lived so long time in the West, in the States and Canada, and basically I maintained my religion, I maintained my ethics. Basically I said, okay, I'm going to take the best of the two worlds. When you go, we have this acculturation hypothesis. Either you assimilate, do what the Romans do. Either you reject and you go home. Either in the middle, you adapt. Basically, where you can adapt to the current culture that you are living in, and when you adapt there, you accept from that culture the best that you need without being critical, you know what I mean, and you maintain that from yours. Now, this is personal. It depends on the person who immigrates. I have friends who came to me to study in the States. Basically, they get assimilated. I have people who said, well, I need to maintain my culture. I want to maintain my religion. I want to maintain who I am. And then at the same time, I need to adapt to the new country, if it's Italy or Canada or Finland or Denmark, to look at that. And now we need to respect people for the way they are. You know what I mean? What we need is good, abiding citizens who live in the host country or their country, who contribute to the economy, who contribute to the richness of that country without, you know what I mean, causing issues or problems. Now, we respect you, you respect us. There's no culture or religion better than the other. We're different. The most important thing is to to understand, to be aware, to respect that culture that you are dealing with, even if you disagree with that. You know what I mean? The only thing is what? Don't be judgmental. Don't judge them based on the principle of your own culture. They don't know. This is, you live this way, and they live this way. Now, let's each one live the way they want, but we respect each other, we cooperate, and that's the most important thing. There's no need to. Now, some people here, in Canada, for instance, in Quebec or in Italy, some people wear the veil. Some people don't wear the veil. Some people cover. Some people don't cover. That's an optional. We have to respect. Some people go to streets semi-naked. You know what I mean? So basically, we have to respect that. They have a choice. This is the way they're dressed. That's fine with me. We don't have to comment on it. The same thing, we have to respect it. So that's why this cultural diversity is a strength. And I think Canada even showed the world how people from so many cultures could live together in harmony. It is basically there, they maintain their, you have the Greek, you have the Italian, you have the Sri Lankan, the Pakistani, the Indian, the Arabs, but basically all of them. And sometimes yesterday I mentioned even about interracial marriage. The best scene I saw in Canada, I was walking the streets, an African American, a big guy, African American, walking with petite Chinese lady, married, with a kid. It was, look at that. You know what I mean? This is an interracial marriage. How on earth, see a big, African American. And by the way, I use African American because it's more respectful than using black. We don't call people by the color of their face. You see, the same thing. So, but basically, now this interracial marriage, or these are the people who are from different cultures come across. There's always, especially we are the educated people who are aware, we find a way to respect each other, and even if we disagree, to still respecting without being judgmental. You know what I mean? So basically, we respect other people's freedom and opinion, what to wear or what to do, as long as you are abiding by the law in the country in which you immigrated to, you live in. You are a contributing citizen to that economy, to that political system, and that's what we want. People who are well educated and well aware of what's going around them, they are more understanding of other cultures, of other people. You know what I mean? They're open-minded. Yeah. That's what we want. We need people who are open-minded, you know what I mean, rather than closed-minded. Closed-minded people don't accept other religions, don't accept other cultures. They are really just basically stuck to their principles. Now, most people right nowadays are very educated and very open-minded, and they come across so many people. Now, that's why education is the most important thing in educating people and also promoting peace among nations, because when you educate people, they become more educated about what's around them in the world. They will be able to analyze and think for themselves rather than being just a closed-minded person who is really it's black and white. You know what I mean? Either here or this way. That's why to enlighten people, especially those who are misunderstanding sometimes the religion or other religions, the best say is what? Education. But in Palestine, education is so important and critical, you know what I mean, to understand the people around you, and also to practice and understand your religion and other religions too, you know what I mean? And I was reading about so many religions around the world. I want to understand them. The same thing here. This is the most important thing. Now, in the States sometimes and in Canada sometimes, they invite people from all religions. I mean, from Muslims, Jews, Christians, just basically to discuss and encourage and understand. That's the most important thing. I mean, that is where education plays a major role. As you'll see later in one of my slides when I say how we are, the last one here. The last slide, when I talk about how we promote global and cross-cultural understanding. Basically, the teacher educational programs, when we train teachers, We emphasize that because they are the people who will be in contact with students. You know what I mean? So basically, you raise the awareness. So also emphasize the Palestinian curriculum. In the curriculum, we emphasize cross-cultural communication, learning about other cultures, learning about other people to understand them. You know what I mean? Sometimes we do research about them to understand that. And also about here, take this project. Erasmus Plus, Save the Children. This is a fantastic opportunity, example, how, for instance, Hanwar came here, you never met me, I never met you, to tell you about what the Palestinian education system and how we do things here. The same thing, when you guys come to our university or come to Palestine, you experience that firsthand. And also about the international speakers, here I am. We invite them right now at Birzeit. Every year we have so many people come to present and talk about that through education. Staff and students exchange. When we exchange students to go and spend a semester here in Siena or Arezzo or in Palestine. These are the things that help Marco to open people's mind and educate them about other cultures and be able to think for themselves rather than being what? Close-minded, illiterate, who just only misunderstanding sometimes other cultures and their own cultures. We teach Italian language and culture, optional. Turkish language and culture, French language and culture. Who pays for that? The embassy, the Italian embassy, will bring an Italian teacher, and they pay her salary, and they pay the expenses. They offer the course at the university. What is the purpose of that? Educating people about Italian language and culture. The same thing, look here. Yesterday in my class, you have some of your students who are taking Arabic. Fantastic. They are taking introduction to Arabic and also the culture. Basically, when you have something like Hayat, teaching them the language and about the culture firsthand. This is to enlighten them, to teach them about now. Later on, if they are interested, they can do their own research to experience or to get more information about the Arabic culture, or sometimes if they have a chance to come as an exchange student to spend a semester at Birzeit University to interact and deal with people. It's just basically now all governments around the world interested in promoting their language and their culture. The same thing the Arabs. Arabs pay so much money to other universities in Italy, in Denmark, in Finland, in the US to establish an Arabic program to teach people about Islam, Islamic religion, about Arabic language, about culture. The most important thing is that we educate ourselves and we educate our children through the education system, that we minimize the close-mindedness that some people have about other people. The days are gone when people just stay born in this village, live in this village, die in this village. You don't meet any people from other countries. That's over because you stay close-minded. Look at me. I changed so much. When I was 18 years old, finishing high school and when I go and study, I have so many stereotypes about other religions, about other cultures, about other people. But when I had the chance to travel and study in the Western world and come to universities to Italy, Finland, Denmark, England, I start to understand, you know what I mean? It's basically those cultures, and also sometimes even educating them about the Arab culture, educate me about their own culture. I become so happy that I got all this information now, very open-minded. I don't judge people, I respect people, I travel things, based on all of these things. And this is, as educators, it's our goal to promote that among our students at an early age. And for my children, for instance, it's basically I educate them about, they meet people from different cultures, different countries. These are people from, oh no, they're different. Yes, they speak English, they speak Portuguese, they speak Italian. And sometimes every time I have guests who come, I take them to my house, and my kids will meet them, and sometimes Italian or sometimes French or British. And my kids will meet them and interact with them basically in English, and they understand the education. It's a great experience. I take my kids every year to travel, to introduce them to other culture. This is the way to build this understanding rather than you're in Arezzo, you stay in Arezzo. You don't interact with other people, you're going to travel, you stay close-minded. And this is very dangerous. It is when you look at the world like black and white, or you are the right and they are the wrong. That's totally unacceptable. You know what I mean? You need to understand their culture. You need to understand their way of life. And then, in this case, you'll be able to have a mutual respect and understanding, what we call BCK. pedagogical content knowledge. Content is, I'm an English teacher, I should know English to be able to, but that's not enough. There's also pedagogy. Pedagogy is a methodology how to teach English. Pedagogy, how to teach Arabic as a foreign language. Pedagogy, how to teach math, how to teach physics, you know what I mean? So basically, all of this research gives us strategies, techniques, ideas in order how to teach those disciplines, you know what I mean? I think it may be in Italy too. You finish your BA degree in English or Arabic or math or physics. After that, you spend 1 year diploma for pedagogy. You learn how to teach the subject that you learn, if it's English or math or Arabic, whatever. See that? That's emphasized. Also, e-tutoring program. Right now, all of you heard about Khan Academy or about even YouTube. The same thing, we're building a lot of videos available for students in so many subjects, so students at home can have access to, for math, for English, for Arabic, whatever, to watch on their own, you know what I mean, to learn and then come from class. And this will take us to the flipped classroom instruction. I don't know if you heard about the flipped learning. Basically, you watch the video at home and then come back to class and discuss that. And also about the we talked about the student-centered instruction. It's also related to the project-based learning, problem-based learning. These are so excellent strategies when you right now design, assign students projects to build their critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills. So all of these are new innovations in our curriculum in order to empower, engage our students. Instead of becoming passive, they're active learners. We don't emphasize rote learning and memorization anymore. Because no need to memorize. Now, Google anything, you get all the information that you need. Why should you memorize? The most important thing is reading this information and able to analyze the information, able to critique the information, able to respond to that information. That is the most important thing. And these are really 6 points that currently we are emphasizing in the Palestinian education system in public and private schools. The last slide about the challenges. It's basically, as you see here, we have a challenge in attracting the best and the brightest people to the education systems. I don't know if you guys have the same thing here in Italy. We need the best people to become teachers. We need the brightest people. Many people choose not to become teachers because of the money issues. Salaries are not good. Now, I don't know if you heard about the Finland education system. It's a fabulous education system. In Finland, teachers are more respected than lawyers and medical doctors, and they make more money even. And they have one of the best education systems in the world. We have to learn from that. Whereas in the Arab world in Palestine, teachers don't make a lot of money, and many people, they don't want to become teachers. So basically, sometimes we have scholarships to attract them to come and study and become a teacher. Instructional practices. Change is very hard. Now, people used to rote learning, lecturing, memorization. And if you look at the slide before, we're trying to change into these areas. We're making a difference, but it's not easy. It's a challenge. But we don't give up. We need to change. We don't want the teachers just to be the focus of the learning process, lecture and move out. No, students are active, engaged learners. I mean, they are the center of the learning process. We are also working on it, but it's also a challenge. And also, in Palestine, we have so many initiatives from the World Bank, Save the Children, Erasmus+, the MDs, the British Council. We have so many initiatives coming from the world to help improve the education system. This is sometimes not good. It's good to have too many, just basically conflicting. It's good to have one initiative from the World Bank that we focus on it and do it. But when you have so many things, so many projects, people just basically scattered all over this, and that's really, you lack the focus. And I worked with the World Bank, I worked with Save the Children, I worked with the Middle East, I worked with the British Council, I worked with them, many projects. We don't need that. Sometimes millions of dollars, you know what I mean? But basically we need to have less initiatives, focused ones, from the World Bank or Save the Children or the European Union, and focus on certain things that we improve the system. You know what I mean? And also designing effective professional development. Here, this is an issue too. We need good professional development programs for teachers during the year. This is one size fits all. It doesn't work. We need to tailor those developments to teachers' needs. You know what I mean? And that's really also a challenge because sometimes we ask teachers to go to attend sessions in their weekend. But this is my day. I don't want to go on Friday or Saturday to attend. This is my day home. Send me during the working day so I can attend. So it's also a challenge to develop effective programs. We are doing that, and hopefully, I didn't say problems, I say challenges on purpose. Challenge, having the mentality, the positive mentality, you overcome that. You know what I mean? And we will, basically, because considering education one of the most important things in Palestine. And also, teachers burnout. Teachers burn out sometimes. That's why we need always renewal. When you teach for 15, 20 years, and I always say to the teachers, you might have been teaching for 25 years, but maybe you only have 1 year of experience, not 25. And they will say, how? If you are a teacher for 20 years, 25 years, and every year you are doing the same thing, you have 1 year of experience. You don't have a 25 years experience because there's a renewal. But if you are a teacher who every year attend a conference, look for new ways to do things, you are also changing. Even this in the same day, when you have the same class, you don't teach it the same way the second time. These are good teachers who reflect. Let me see. So basically, we need to be able also, now that's why teachers, one of the complaints, before I came, I said, I'm going to Italy to talk about that. They said, we wish we could do that. Now for the first time, and I hope it will be approved, I am planning to take a group of my English teachers to England for 2 weeks, just to experience the English language culture and meet people and talk about it, and they will pay for it from their pockets. They're willing to do that. The same thing, I worked with Teachers Without Borders last semester from Finland. Now we're also planning to take like 5, 6 teachers to go to Finland to experience that. You know what I mean? Just to take them out. My master's students, right now I have 12 master's students, and they were saying, Hanwar, we need to plan a visit to an English-speaking country so we can go and visit for 2 weeks. We pay for those ones. I said, how about your husbands? Don't worry about them. Either we'll bring them with us or they will support us. We need to go. I said, you need a permission from your husband to travel. Not anymore. I have my own permission. I can travel. See, the stereotype, you are able to do that, which is fantastic. So people are willing to go and pay from their pockets to go and travel and see the world, because they are, some people just stuck there, never leave Jordan, never leave Palestine, never, because first of all, it's very expensive. Number two, sometimes the visas are here. I was planning to come this week with my wife and 2 boys. I went to the Italian embassy. I don't need a visa to come to Italy because I'm Canadian. I could come easily. But my wife doesn't have that. We went to the Italian embassy. Do you know the paperwork required? File, bank account, salary, medical insurance, reservation in advance, all of these issues. But you have to put a file to apply for the visa. I said, I don't have time to do that. I'm going to go. Right. I said, but basically, I get my passport and I travel. So I said, next time when I go, the first thing I'm going to do, get my wife the Canadian passport, get my kids Canadian passport, so I'll be able to just buy the ticket, get on the plane, and come to Italy or another country rather than go through this bureaucracy also. So people would like to travel, but visa is an issue, money is an issue, a lot of issues. But sometimes people, they put their life savings, like my master's students. We will go, we will pay for our own things. This is the first time it's going to happen because I want to do that. Never a group of students from Birzeit want to visit. Hopefully, the Italian students who are learning Italian will be able to come and visit Italy through the language program. But you need somebody to take the initiative. Some people are scared. I'm not going to take a group of students with me, 6 or 12 of them, to travel them across the world and take the responsibility. Many people say that. No, but I will do that. You know what I mean? These are grown-up. I will lead a group of 6 or 12 students coming to experience Italian culture and live in Italy. that's fine. I mean, it's not a problem. So basically, we need to get out of this safety zone and travel. It's basically, traveling is not an easy thing. Here, my trip to Italy, even though I have visited so many countries in the world, it was a nightmare the first 2 days. Really, I arrived for Giugno airport. Then I had a hard time getting the ticket to come to Arezzo. I told people, I'm going to Arezzo. So Arezzo, whatever. I want to go there. And then people saw me like I was a foreigner. And 2 people were surrounded me. They want to take advantage of me. I don't know them. They started helping me, but I realized they're thieves. And then I said, nobody's helping. I spoke to somebody, no English, Italian. Then I want to buy a fast ticket. Even I bought a fast ticket. But they said, no, you have to buy another one and buy me a cheaper one. I arrived at 9 o'clock on Sunday night, fasting. It was Ramadan. Didn't eat anything. When I got to the place where I'm going to stay, it's closed. I said, where am I going to go now? I'm homeless. And then I keep looking on the door, and they opened the door, and I said, I'm fasting, I'm going to eat. They said, no, nobody's open, whatever. I said, well, I'm going to find something. I went to a restaurant on the road, and I just had something, came back here. It is basically go to Harissa too. It's not comforting, but it's a good experience. You know what I mean? To go through that. I always tell my students, anything that you go through, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Period. We're working with the Ministry of Education to build this. We have a relationship. We try to build a stronger relationship with them. Sometimes you are at the university, the theoreticians. We are at the ministry, the practical people. You know what I mean? So basically there's a conflict. And that's why we have a relationship, but it's not as strong as we would like it to be. So we work with them in order to strengthen that, to open the schools to our research, to open their schools, to send our students for practicum training in a semester. You know what I mean? Some of the principals are cooperating with us, some of them not. And as in Italy, the bureaucracy, I send the students to schools, no, you have to bring a letter from the person, you have to do and do that. You know what I mean? So we need to make it easier, more convenient for students to go without going through all these hoops to go and do something at the school. You know what I mean? That's why we need, since we work for the same goal, preparing teachers for the future for the school, so we want to make it easy for them and strengthen the relationship between the teachers and the students. That's what I mean by that. You know what I mean? So basically always, sometimes issues between people when they talk, but the best thing is just to work on that and strengthen it and solve issues rather than backing out. You know what I mean? That's the whole anytime. Just now you have a friend in Palestine, Birzeit. I'm here to contact me, and I can do whatever to make your journey and your visit as fruitful and enjoyable as possible. Yes. That's good.
Abbiamo un amico in Palestina e sono adesso. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Allora, per chi
Thank you.